Hello, I'm Miss Aili from the Yonkers Library in New York. But for now, I'm at home with all of my favorite books, and I'd love to read them with you. Let's sing our welcome song, shall we? Welcome, welcome everyone. Now you're here, let's have some fun. Stories old and stories new. Fun for me and fun for you. Welcome, welcome everyone. Now you're here, let's have some fun. Today, we are reading some stories about cats. And our first story is called Cat Knit by Jacob Grant. Cat and Girl had always been good friends. One day, Girl brought home a colorful new guest. His name was Yarn. Cat was fascinated by Yarn. He'd never had a friend so bright and rolly. The two of them were inseparable. But Girl also wanted to play with Yarn. Cat waited and waited. He wasn't sure what Girl was up to, but he didn't like it. When Yarn returned, he wasn't his usual bouncy self. Cat's friend had changed. Cat did not like this new Yarn one bit. He was itchy and stuffy and no fun at all. Cat was so mad he hardly noticed the cold snow. He had to get away from this new Yarn. Soon, Cat realized just how cold it was. Warming up to something new takes time. Yarn may have changed, but they would always be friends. Then one day, Girl brought home a group of colorful guests. What do you think she's going to do with them? And that's the end. Well, it looks like Cat has some new mittens. Now why don't we sing a song about 3 little kittens who lost their mittens? And it goes like this. The 3 little kittens, they lost their mittens and they began to cry. Oh, mother dear, see here, our mittens we have lost. What lost your mittens, you naughty kittens, and you shall have no pie. Meow, 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 you shall have no pie. The 3 little kittens, they found their mittens and they began to cry. Oh, mother dear, see here, our mittens we have found. what found your mittens, you good little kittens, and you shall have some pie. Meow, 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 and you shall have some pie. Our next story is about a cat who had a pair of boots, and it's called Puss in Boots, and it's found in Mary Englebright's Nursery Tales. There once was a young man who had nothing in the world but a cat named Puss. He felt very sorry for himself. He sighed. "What good is a cat?" Hearing this, Puss replied, "A cat is a very fine thing indeed." "Give me a pair of boots and a sack, and I will make your fortune." As soon as Puss got his boots, he set off. First, he caught a fine rabbit and put it in the sack. Then he boldly made his way to the castle. "I have come to see the king," he cried. "I bring a gift from my master, the Marquis of Carabas." The king was pleased with the gift and invited Puss in Boots to stay for supper. The cat ate his fill from the banquet table, and while he ate, he talked. First, he told the king how rich the Marquis of Carabas was. Then he told the queen how noble the Marquis of Carabas was. Then he told the princess his master was handsome, brave, and charming. By the time Puss in Boots left the castle, everyone was talking about the mysterious Marquis. Puss had learned that the royal family was about to take a tour of the countryside. He ran back to his master and said, "I have a plan. Go swimming in the river today, and I will make your wildest dreams come true." While the young man swam, Puss hid his clothes. Then Puss jumped in front of the king's carriage and shouted, "Help! The Marquis of Carabas is drowning!" Quick as a flash, the king's footmen jumped into the river and pulled the young man out. "Someone has stolen my clothes," the young man cried. So the king gave the young man new clothes to wear and let him sit in his own royal carriage. In his borrowed clothes, the Marquis of Carabas looked just as rich and noble and handsome as Puss had promised. Meanwhile, the cat ran ahead down the road until he came to some fields that were owned by a fearsome ogre, the terror of the land. He told all the farmers about his plan, and they agreed to help him. Next, Puss in Boots ran ahead to the ogre's castle. He knocked boldly on the door, and the ogre answered. "Is it true that you can turn into anything you like?" Puss asked. The ogre proudly turned into a lion. "But it must be easy for an ogre to turn into a lion," said Puss in Boots. "An ogre could never turn into something tiny like a mouse." The lion roared and turned into a mouse. In a flash, Puss ate him up, and that was the end of the ogre. Along the road, The king saw farmers working. When he asked who owned the land, the farmers did just as Puss had told them and said, "The Marquis of Carabas." Puss in Boots stood by the ogre's castle gate. When the king came by, Puss called, "The Marquis of Carabas welcomes you." The king and the queen and the princess ate a marvelous supper in the castle with the Marquis and his cat. Before long, the princess and the Marquis of Carabas were engaged to be married. On the day of his wedding, the Marquis of Carabas turned to Puss in Boots and said, "Thank you, my friend, you were right. A cat is a very fine thing indeed." And that is the end. And thank you for reading with me. And now let's sing our goodbye song. Ready? Goodbye, goodbye, everyone. Story time was so much fun. We are done, but don't be blue. Next time we'll read something new. Good